Have you ever had the quiet, unsettling feeling that life is simply passing you by?
That while others are building careers, finding love, living with a sense of purpose, you are on the outside, looking in, a spectator in your own story. Your efforts seem to dissolve into nothing. Your voice feels like a whisper in a storm, and the world is utterly indifferent. It's not a dramatic pain, but a slow, hollow ache, a feeling of being ignored. We often try to solve this by trying harder. We shout louder, we hustle, we optimize, we put on a mask of relentless positivity. But what if the solution isn't out there? What if the answer isn't in doing more, but in confronting the one thing we've been taught to avoid?
The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung proposed a radical, almost forbidden path through this feeling of existential neglect. It doesn't involve changing your circumstances first. It involves a descent into the very darkness you fear. It requires you to embrace what he called the shadow. This is not a story of easy fixes. This is a map for a journey into the deepest parts of yourself, because the principle is this: life does not ignore you. It is holding up a mirror, and you are ignoring what you see.
Let's give this feeling a name. It's not just sadness, it's a specific kind of loneliness. The loneliness of irrelevance. You speak, and your words seem to have no weight. You act, and your actions create no ripple. It's as if you are living in a world coated in Teflon, where nothing you do can stick. We've all felt it. That promotion that goes to someone else for reasons you can't understand. The relationship that fades without a clear explanation. The creative project that lands in a void of silence. The immediate human response is to look outward for the problem. The system is rigged. People are shallow. I'm just unlucky. And so we try to fix the external self. We curate a more impressive online persona. We learn to mimic confidence. We force ourselves into networks and situations that feel alien.
But think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the louder you try to be, the more hollow you feel inside? That the persona you build to attract validation becomes a cage that isolates you from genuine connection. This is the first clue that we are on the wrong path. Jung saw this persona, this social mask, as a necessary part of life, but he warned of a grave danger when we identify too closely with our persona. When we believe that the mask is who we truly are, we create a rift within ourselves. The parts of us that don't fit the mask, our insecurities, our primal anger, our unacceptable desires, our hidden frailties, are not integrated. They are severed, pushed down, locked away. And this is where the shadow is born. So the quietness you experience from the world is not a sign of its indifference. It is an echo of the emptiness you feel inside, created by everything you have been forced to disown. You feel ignored because you are actively ignoring a fundamental part of your own being.
Everyone carries a shadow, Jung wrote, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. This is the forbidden principle. In a culture obsessed with light, positivity, and success, the idea of voluntarily turning towards our own darkness feels counterintuitive, even dangerous. We are taught to kill the negative thoughts, to stay positive, to look on the bright side. But what happens to a thought you try to kill? It goes underground. It doesn't die. It gathers strength in the darkness. It begins to operate autonomously outside your conscious control. Your repressed anger doesn't vanish. It leaks out as passive aggression or irrational resentment towards others. Your hidden insecurity doesn't disappear. It manifests as a constant need for reassurance or a tendency to sabotage your own success. Your denied vulnerability doesn't evaporate. It hardens into a wall of cynicism that prevents true intimacy.
This is the shadow. It is not just your evil side. It is the repository of
everything you have been taught since childhood was not acceptable. Don't be so angry. Stop being so sensitive. Big boys don't cry. Don't be so selfish. So you cut those parts off and threw them into the basement of your psyche. But they live there, and they influence every single one of your actions, your attractions, your aversions, and yes, your feeling of being ignored by life. Because when you are at war with yourself, you are projecting that war onto the world. The world feels hostile because you are hostile to the parts of yourself you've locked away. The world feels ignoring because you are the one doing the ignoring. The forbidden revolutionary act is to stop the war, to turn towards the locked door, not with a weapon, but with a key, to say, I will meet what I have feared. So, how do you do this? How do you begin this descent without being consumed by the darkness? It is a practice, not a one-time event. It requires the courage of a scientist and the compassion of a parent. Method 1. Catch the projection. This is the most powerful and immediate tool. Your shadow is most visible when you project it onto other people. That person who enrages you with their arrogance, that colleague whose neediness grates on you. Look closely. Ask yourself directly, where am I also like that? This is not about guilt. It's about recognition. The intensity of your reaction is often a direct measure of how fiercely you have disowned that same quality in yourself. You cannot tolerate their arrogance because you have repressed your own healthy assertiveness and self-worth. You despise their neediness because you refuse to acknowledge your own profound human need for love and support. When you catch a projection, you reclaim a piece of your soul. You take back the energy you were wasting on judging others and bring it home to yourself.
Method 2. Engage in active dialogue. Jung advocated for a technique called active imagination. Think of it as a structured daydream. In a quiet moment, close your eyes, visualize a neutral space, and invite your shadow to appear. Don't force an image. Let it come. It might appear as a figure, an animal, or just a presence. And then ask it questions, not with aggression, but with curiosity. What do you want? Why are you here? What part of me do you represent? Journal the conversation. Let the answers flow, even if they seem strange or disturbing. You are opening a diplomatic channel with a part of your own psyche you have been at war with.
Method 3. Analyze your accidents. Pay attention to your Freudian slips, those moments when the wrong word tumbles out of your mouth. Pay attention to your forgotten appointments, your spilled coffee, the things you accidentally break. Jung saw these as not mere coincidences, but as expressions of the shadow. They are a crack in the facade of your conscious will through which a disowned intention emerges. What were you feeling just before you had that accident? Often it's a repressed frustration or a desire to avoid a situation. These accidents are messages. Start listening to them. Method 4. Embrace the creative spark. The shadow is not just a problem. It is a wellspring of incredible vitality and creativity. All that raw, untamed energy you've been locking up is pure life force. Channel it. Write a story from the perspective of your darkest impulse. Paint the anger. Dance the chaos. Don't act it out destructively in the world, but give it a form in art, in writing, in music. When you do this, you are no longer repressing the energy. You are transmuting it. You are taking the coal of your shadow and turning it into a diamond. This process is not for the faint of heart. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel messy. You will want to turn back. But this is the threshold. This is the point where most people retreat. But if you continue, you will discover that the other side of this confrontation is not madness, but wholeness. And it is from this wholeness that a truly remarkable life begins to emerge. In the next part, We will explore what happens on the other side of this work, how the integration of the shadow transforms your relationships, your sense of purpose, and your very presence in the world. We will see how the person who was once ignored by life becomes utterly, magnetically undeniable. We stand now on the other side of the threshold. You have begun the difficult, essential work of making the unconscious conscious. You are no longer at war with yourself. So, what now? What does life look like when you stop being a fragmented collection of acceptable traits and become an integrated, whole human being? The change is not that the world suddenly starts giving you everything you want. The change is that you stop needing it to. The feeling of being ignored evaporates because your sense of value and reality is no longer external. It is internal. It is rooted in the fact that you know who you are, the light and the dark, and you no longer apologize for it.
First, your energy returns. Think of the immense psychological effort it takes to keep a lid on your shadow. It's a constant, draining background process. When you integrate these disowned parts, that energy is liberated. You feel more vital, more alive, more present. This vitality is palpable. People are drawn to it. It's not the frantic energy of the persona trying to prove itself. It's the calm, magnetic energy of someone who is fully inhabiting their own skin. Second, you become paradoxically more compassionate. When you have made peace with your own darkness, you are no longer triggered by it in others. You stop judging so harshly. You understand the human struggle. This deepens your relationships immeasurably. You can connect with people on a level of shared humanity, not on the level of curated masks. Third, you unlock authentic creativity and insight. The shadow is the source of the trickster, the artist, the revolutionary. By giving it a voice, you tap into a well of ideas and perspectives that are uniquely yours. Your problem-solving abilities shift. You see angles and solutions that were invisible to you before because you are only operating with half of your mind.
But perhaps the most profound change is this. You begin to live with a sense of meaning. Jung famously said, "Meaning makes a great many things endurable, perhaps everything." The feeling of being ignored is, at its core, a crisis of meaning. Your life feels meaningless because you are living a life that is not your own. You are living a life dictated by your persona, by what you should be. When you integrate your shadow, you reclaim your authentic path, your desires, your quirks, your strange passions. They are all part of the whole. Following them no longer feels like a selfish indulgence, but like an obedience to a deeper, truer self. Your life becomes a dialogue between your conscious ego and the vast, mysterious totality of your psyche. And that dialogue, that is what a meaningful life is. You are no longer a spectator. You are the author.
So, if life ignores you, act like this. The Carl Jung way, embrace the forbidden principle. Stop seeking the light by blindly staring at the sun. Instead, turn around and illuminate the darkness behind you. The very parts of yourself you have been running from hold the key to the life you feel is being withheld from you. The world's indifference was never the problem. It was always the symptom. The problem was the civil war within, and the solution is a treaty you alone can ratify. This is not a one-time decision, but a lifelong practice, a daily commitment to curiosity over judgment, to compassion over condemnation, and to wholeness over a fragile, perfect-looking halfness. As you go from here, I want you to sit with one final question, a question to carry with you into your week. What one part of yourself that you have been most ashamed of or afraid of, if brought into the light and embraced with understanding, could become your greatest source of strength? The answer to that question is the first step on the road from being a person life ignores to becoming a person who is truly and utterly unignorable.